Now, one of the things that I have admired about you, Mark, from the first time I just started reading you, but we'd never talked or anything, was that it struck me that you feel compassion for job seekers. That
Mhm.
when you're writing for them, it feels to me that it comes through that you're concerned about them, you're trying to help them be alert to problems and know that there's ways to manage them. And lately, I've noticed that one of the things you've been doing is warning about scammers out there, that people are scamming job seekers. Can you tell us what you've been noticing and how people should protect themselves? What's going on with that?
I wrote something last week, or I put a video out. I think I got some really positive reactions, but I think as we learn about technology, what happens over there will eventually happen over here. For instance, there was something happened in Asia where a lot of the job portals were robbed by what they called resume looters. And the articles have been stating how the job portals were robbed with a very sensitive job employment application information, which includes someone's phone number, someone's email address, and not just they win not only doing, but so they also win by getting their entrance and then maybe, and I'm just reimagining a little bit, they have access to AI too. So
Yeah.
they can use those things against and counter attack or counter intelligence as far as using it for their purposes. And really, scammers are out to get private information. Money is not even the object at first, although people do get scammed for money and it does hurt. And I don't want to take away because there's a lot of different scams. But when we see something like happen in Asia where job portals are robbed of private information, it's coming here to the US. It's going to come. It may even come a little bit differently, but they have the same goal. They want the private data to infringe on people's privacy, and information is good for even legitimate companies to have because that gives them an idea of what their ideal customer or the target customer is, or even for other scammers, which they can also sell to other scammers who can reuse it, and the cycle continues on. There's another instance where a worker in a company, and this was on CNN recently, as well as Business Insider, where an employee thought he was talking to coworkers in another country in the UK. So it ends up he passed on to information to people he trusted. Now, this video he was involved in was actually what they call a deep fake video, which is AI generated, which enabled them to insert voices and movement, makes it look so real. The person's interacting with their coworkers, and they may even have somewhat similar language, but they got some private information, which ended up, all in all, if you follow the whole trail, it's like $25 million. So the company, in essence, got scammed. So all to say, all those kind of things are a preview as to what to come here in the States and elsewhere where it hasn't been so prevalent yet. But those scams are very dangerous, and job seekers, when they hear, they need to consider what kind of information could be vulnerable, and they're going to need to act accordingly, or they're going to not transact with the company who's it happened to. And it's really a warning not just for job seekers, really is a warning for everyone.
And so there's so much information out there because we put it on LinkedIn, we put it out there for networking, and we want to connect with people, but there's some things we don't want everybody to know need our phone and stuff. But what I'm thinking is that you could make a remark that could be taken out of context when if you're talking in a video, you could be quoted and might be accurately, but it could be put in a totally different place, or you could say something that you want potential employer to know about your situation that's really private. related to your family or something. So it might be that this could have a chilling effect, I think, on some of the conversations that help create a really good start in a job, can't it?
Yes, and it, or better yet, what's often happen is people get lured into situations where it looked real enough. And these scammers are not going to say, "Hey, we're scamming." They're going to look like the real thing as close as possible, which means could take even a familiar face. It could take a familiar voice and use it to is not even just taken out of context. It's all this really comes down to privacy and trust.
Yeah.
Is my information private enough? And then if I am going to trust you, I need to know you're going to take really good care of me. And companies are going to have to really make kind of effort for them to set themselves apart from the scammers. So when we talked about ghost jobs earlier, you consider fake jobs and ghost jobs could be have a very similar MO. If you like last year in Fortune magazine, they had a survey which their hiring managers said, "Hey, we do lie in saying we do keep job openings past its expiration date, a few months. So therefore, job seekers are applying to jobs aren't open for hire." You take what scammers do and able to create scam companies and fake companies, and they masquerade as these saviors to job seekers, especially the ones who spent quite a bit of time in the job search. You say, "Hey, apply to this job." What is really the difference? And sometimes I even wonder, what do these companies do with the information they get?
Yeah.
Legitimate companies, what do they do with information if they keep it up 3 months after it's been filled? What do they do with that job seeker information? So it gets pretty
It's
interesting.
complicated.
Legitimate companies and fake employers could have a lot of the same way of operating. Their intent may be different, but for a job seeker, it's, yeah, their information could be everywhere.